Welcome to Movie Schmovie Episode 1. My Neighbor Totoro. I recently rewatched Totoro and I have to say, I did not remember a single thing, at all. I really had no clue who this guy was, and no one told me Totoro was this small. He's so tiny. Okay, no, I'm joking. He's actually huge. If I saw this on a tree at night, I'd be terrified for years. Imagine looking across your neighbor's tree and just seeing that screaming into the wind. No, I'm moving out immediately. That's a promise. It also made me wonder why everyone loves Totoro so much. He showed up in the movie for maybe 10 minutes at most, and that's me being generous with the time. He had no dialogue because he can't talk. He was such a secondary character, the movie could have almost worked the same without him. His family moves to the country. His two young girls are upset to know their mom is sick. The younger sister runs away, and then the older sister goes to find her. When reunited, they hope their mom gets better. The end. Except, I wouldn't watch this movie. Especially as a kid. But if I add Totoro and the cat bus, it instantly sounds like a better movie. This family moves to the country. They discover mythical creatures. The two young girls are upset that their mom is sick. The younger one runs away. The older one seeks out the mythical creatures for help. They reunite and sit with the creatures, hoping that their mom gets better. As a kid, I wouldn't be interested in anything except Totoro and the cat bus. Your attention span is so small. If it doesn't catch your attention, you tend to care less about it. As a kid, it was so much harder to follow the actual story because I just couldn't understand anything. However, if I had to choose a Studio Ghibli movie based on the cover as a kid, I'd probably still watch Totoro. I don't know if it's just great marketing or I'm really biased at the moment, but either way, I'd grab Totoro in the store and beg my mom to buy it without even knowing anything. I think another fact of this movie is that you can grow up besides it. I find it rare to love a movie from your childhood just as much as when you get older, because you're able to understand it in a completely different light than you did as a kid. Even if you were to watch the movie right now and didn't grow up with it, you could still love the movie just as much, if not more. I mean, the pure wonder that Totoro is enough to bring one joy. There are so many moments in this movie that felt so peaceful. Staring at the tadpoles, enjoying nature, it made me miss being a kid and rolling down the hills with my siblings. The animation is stunning and clean despite coming out in 1988. This movie took 8 months to make and it was all completely hand-drawn. Studio Ghibli is famous for their hand-drawn animations, and Totoro is a great example of how wonderful it can be. From each piece of grass moving to the rippling water, there is so much movement happening and it makes for beautiful, beautiful visuals. I also want to mention the whole point of this movie though. Satsuki and Mei are kids who are curious about the world, but they are slowly losing that wonder. You can assume that there isn't much of an age difference between Mei and Satsuki, but Satsuki feels a lot older, just to take on the role of her whole family since her mom is sick. To keep in context though of older Japan, the wives would do basically everything. However, I think Satsuki takes on this role a little too soon. We see Satsuki making breakfast, cleaning, and even waking her father to set him off for work. She also has to stay strong for Mei while going to school and maintaining the house. We don't even see Satsuki cry until the end of this film, and that's when Mei sees it as well. It kind of feels like Mei understands the gravity of the situation that they're both in. Their mom is sick and they have no clue if she'll ever get better. This is why Totoro brings in a lot of wonder for both of them. At first, only Mei could see him and the other spirits because she's still young and believes in things like that. Mei even tells her family, and instead of discouraging her that what she saw didn't actually happen, they're really happy for her. Satsuki probably feels even a little jealous since she can't see them, but then again, none of the other adults could either. During the rain scene is when Satsuki finally meets Totoro, and she's terrified. However, I think at this moment she must have felt like a child. Satsuki and Mei were waiting for their father to arrive, and when he didn't, she got sad and offered to carry Mei since she was tired. Totoro showed up almost as if he was protecting them in a way, making sure that they were alright. He even screams and the rain stops, so Satsuki doesn't have to hold the umbrella anymore and Mei at the same time. We see Totoro enter the cat bus and disappear just as their father's bus arrives. Both of them are excited to talk about seeing Totoro, and even their father seems happy that they are okay. From there, Satsuki and Mei encounter Totoro again. The seeds they planted weren't growing, and you could tell that they were losing hope. He uses his powers to make the seedlings pop up. It starts turning into a giant tree, and even with their father literally right there, he doesn't appear to notice anything at all. Totoro also kind of tricked them into gardening and taking care of the earth, but they become excited to see the seedlings pop out. Again though, Totoro managed to help them get their wonder back. I feel like it really gave them a lot of hope. The last time we see Totoro is when he calls for the cat bus for Satsuki to find Mei. This is when all hope is really, really lost. They think Mei could have fallen into the river, and they find out that their mom isn't coming home, and their dad has to go back to the hospital. Sasuke feels the burden of all of these problems, and Totoro just holds her and sends her on her way. The wonder that kids need is so important, and growing up too fast can make you feel like you miss out on so many things. I think Miyazaki wanted to remind everyone that growing up doesn't have to be so lonely. You can enjoy the small things and slow down. With life constantly moving, there is beauty in nature, and taking a minute to give yourself a break is exactly what you need. And I know that there's a theory that Totoro is about a serial killer in Japan from the 60s, and that Totoro could represent the god of death, but Miyazaki has stated that this is not at all related to the movie, so I'd also like to pretend that this theory doesn't hold any merit. My overall rating of Totoro is a solid 4 stars. The characters are strong and relatable, the animation is amazing, and the story is actually clear. However, it can feel a little slow at times. Movies are all up for interpretation, so let me know how you felt watching this movie in the comments. If you haven't seen this movie, it's definitely worth a watch.